Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the URC. This one, Munster versus the Bulls. Now, currently, we've already seen some pretty close games of this URC round. The table at the start, or at least somewhere near the start of the round, looked like this. Since then, we have seen Benetton get themselves the victory. The Stormers just recently closing out a close game up against Connacht. And now, we get to see the Bulls, who are currently sitting in third. I believe that has not changed unless, of course, we've seen any sort of weird reshuffles, but they sit in third. They're up against Munster, who are in fifth, who are trying to create a little bit more of a close contest heading down to the wire between them and the Sharks in terms of who gets that home quarter final. Could be absolutely crucial at this game for Munster. I would say if they want a chance at that quarter, it is a must-win. And with the side that they've gone with, it is a very strong-looking lineup. It is Wickerley in the front row alongside Niall Scannell and Ollie Jaeger, Jean Klein at number 4 with Ty Byrne at 5, Ahern, Peter O'Mahony, and then Kendallin as the number 8. Craig Casey and Jack Crowley will be the 19 combination. Andrew Smith finds himself situated out on that left wing. Nankerville and Farrell in the midfield with O'Brien out on the right and Thackeray Abrahams at number 15 for the Bulls. In their starting lineup, it is Jan Hendrik Vessels, Aka van der Merwe and Wilco Lowe. Kobus Vesa and Rua Nokia make up the locking duo with Marcel Kutsia, Kirsten at 7 and Honeycomb as the number 8, and Broz Papier and Johan Hussen as the 19 combo, Foster and Creel in the middle, and then Moody, de Klerk and Devon Williams at number 15. So overall, two strong looking sides. But as we have seen throughout this weekend, sometimes the strongest sides do seem to take the longest to find their rhythm, so I don't think either of these ones are going to be in. I just don't think it's going to be a one-sided game, but if it was, I do think that probably Munster, just because they are at home, but I do see the Bulls being extremely competitive, if not winning this match. They do find the rhythm. They're looking through at Munster's form. They lost in their game up against Bordeaux for the European Champions Cup quarter-final. Now, during that week, the Bulls did not find themselves with a game that was due to, or did they? Quarter-final-wise, actually, they might have been the only South African side who actually had a match. And that was up against Edinburgh, where they were defeated in that contest, but Bordeaux were able to get themselves the win over Munster. Munster causing the upset of the Champions Cup, I would say, so far, in terms of beating La Rochelle in France for the week prior. For Munster, they were beaten by Edinburgh, 34 points to 28. They had a good win over Bayern in the last 16 of the Europeans Challenge Cup. And the next game will be up against Glasgow. So that is going to be more than just a tough game there. They'll have to be on their A game. They do want to close that gap once again. We have got Hi Hamish from Tanya. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. Munster at home will win by 10 plus points, says Barry Power. And also come on the Munster, says Jamie, and go the Bulls, says Luke. So a little bit of a split, it seems, in terms of who you guys going for in this contest. Yeah, I just hope it's a high-scoring one. Maybe not as high-scoring as the last match, where we did see between the Stormers and Connacht, with how many tries we saw, 8 in the first half. So hopefully a few less than that, but I would happily accept 4 or 5 in this match. Now, the URC, also there are other games taking place just at this current moment. Dragons will be playing up against the Scarlets. That is starting in around 20 minutes' time. And there was also a slightly earlier game between Cardiff and Ospreys. Cardiff getting themselves another win. So in terms of the updated table, they find themselves sitting in 10th. And then, of course, the Stormers have moved up to 6th. Benetton in 5th. The Bulls and the Sharks sitting in 3rd and 4th with a few rounds to go. But, of course, do let me know who you guys think will be winning this game. Looking through at the, one moment, there we go, the benches for this match. Barron, Donnelly, and also Archer as the front row. Wickerley alongside O'Donoghue at number 20. Connor Murray, Kilgallen, and Quinn at number 23. For the Bulls, Johan Rubela, Matanzima, and Smith, Van Heeren, and Gumedi. So just going with the 5-3 split in this match for the Bulls, rather than that 6-2, which we have seen a few other South African sides opt for in this round. Zach Berger, Keegan Johannes, and Stravino Jacobs. Now, he's a really interesting one for this Bulls side because he's been quite out of form. They persisted with him for a few weeks, hoping that that form was going to pick up, but sadly, has just been making far too many simplistic errors. So I do like the fact that they've decided to switch him, give him the chance off the bench. Of course, Sebastian de Klerk, he is one of those players that when he's in form, he can be absolutely outstanding, but just needed some starting minutes to be able to prove it. And maybe this one will be the chance. We have got welcome in, Tanya. And what was the final score in the Stormers game? So, bit of controversy to end the match, but the Stormers did end up winning it 34 points to 29. Connacht scored a last-minute try, but before they were able to take the conversion, they went back to check for obstruction, which did happen about 2 minutes prior. We called it at the time, but they did say play on. So, in that case, they went back, no try, no time left on the clock, whereas if they had called the obstruction right when it happened, they would have still had a couple minutes to play, a line-out chance for a steal, that type of thing, but no, they did not see it, so they went back for it, and it was disallowed. So Stormers winning it and getting 5 points, which was absolutely crucial, I would say, for their overall season. They just need to get a few more wins in the near future. I hope Barry's wrong, says Louis, and out there as well, because he said that Munster will win by 10 plus points by being at home. But we also need to talk about Munster a little bit here and the fatigue that surely this side is feeling. Like, they have had tough game after tough game. We saw it there for the URC in terms of even before their matches up against the two French sides, where they went down to the wire with La Rochelle and they had to dig extremely deep in their loss to Bordeaux. They had a close game with Connacht taking place on the 30th of March. That was 30 points to 24. In terms of the week prior to that, I believe they also had a relatively close game. Yes, they did. Glasgow Warriors, they lost that game 28 points to 25. So, this is a side that have had pretty much 4 tough games in a row. So you wonder whether or not maybe for this game, they're starting to feel it. And that's where the Bulls have to capitalise. They had a tough game up against Edinburgh, but if anything, that should have motivated them that little bit more, knowing that if they had put in that little bit of a shift later on and maybe had a couple moments go their way in the first half, they could have won that game. If Ulster loses, the top 8 would start to get clear gap between the rest, says Albert. And listening to the Kiwi lads there from Blues Nate. But yeah, as this table starts to take shape, there are still many sides that can make it, and definitely with still 3 rounds remaining, theoretically, all of the sides have a chance of getting 15 points. Now, not everyone will. In fact, most won't. But, a couple little changes there. Oh, okay. They've actually said Craig Casey picked up an illness during the warm-up. That is quite unique, but it means that he will be out of the starting lineup, and instead, it is actually going to be Connor Murray who will be starting as the number 9. And come on, the Bulls says I'm Sigma Lingo, and also Stormers have 3 winnable games left from Sean Gunter. And listening to Kiwi lads watching SmackDown episodes, says Blues Nate. Of course, WrestleMania, not too far away from taking place, probably in about 7 hours' time, I believe. And then before that, NXT TakeOver is also a thing too. But third match of the URC we are covering on the channel today. This one's going to be the important one, though, because for the Bulls, if they get themselves the win, they can still theoretically get that home semi-final. He snorted something that made him puke, says Albert. Yeah, well, that's probably not ideal and not really what you want before a game of rugby, I wouldn't think. That will bring a late change off the bench as well, I would also say, for this Bulls side. A few South African fans in the stands getting behind this Bulls team. Like I said, they were close in their game up against Edinburgh, but just didn't quite get the job done. There's some big boys in that fullback, though, Wilco Lowe included. Looks like Ty Byrne will be leading out Munster onto the field now. In front of a home crowd, they will definitely want to make a statement. That's the thing, they've been in France the last couple of weeks. They haven't been able to experience they've had a pretty decent travelling crowd, to be fair, Munster, but to now be at home at Thorpeman Park, where they want to turn their season around, get towards that top 4 and, cause some upsets. It's a Lions game. What went wrong for the Lions? I think that early on, Benetton were just too strong for them. And I know that sounds pretty vague, but Benetton was so clinical. In fact, it was the best half of Benetton rugby I think I've ever seen. Maybe, but exaggerated, but I haven't seen many Benetton halves, so that was the best. But yeah, they just kept on going. Munster taking back ownership of Zombie, says Jimbo. And it is going to be Johan Huersen kicking this one off from left to right, and we are underway now for this contest. Nicely taken by Thaka Abrahams, going up against his fellow South Africans in this contest. Connor Murray going to be rolling this ball back, like we mentioned, late change. Craig Casey out. Connor Murray comes in from the bench. Kicking this one high for Murray. And Sebastian de Klerk manages to slap it back onto the side of the Bulls. Looked like he had a relatively hard landing there too, apart from three players. Benetton is Italy, says Albert. I mean, apart from three players, the Sharks are South Africa. What is the point? There we have got there. What team do you support? I don't actually have a team in the URC or Super Rugby for that matter. I just enjoy watching good games of rugby, and luckily we've had quite a few of those throughout this weekend. What do the bookies think? They do have Munster as the favourites. Bulls coming in as underdogs here. And now rolling this one back. And that one's going to be kicked into touch by Connor Murray, clearing the lines early. And it will be now 42 metres out and being ball, says Tian. Yeah, both of these sides will be wanting that quick start. Bulls have struggled to find it at times throughout their last few games, but when they find their rhythm, they are extremely dangerous. Now it depends on which Bulls teams turn up. Sharks only have 4 box that are started, says Albert. I mean, looking through at their most recent lineup, we can in fact show it. I believe we still... Oh no, I haven't got it here, but I can get it up in an instant. Oxnashare, Bongi Umbanambi. Then you've also got number 3 for that last game. Who'd they have? I can't think of who it was off the top of my head, but he was a Springbok player. And then alongside that, they also had Eman Etzebeth, Sia Khaleesi, Makazole Mapimpi, Lucanio Arm. But, like, Italy starters, the argument you're making is Italy starting players, in this case, you're saying, are on the same level? Because at the end of the day, like, the international side of things, 4 South African teams, 2 Italian teams. Of course, you're going to see more starting guys in the lineup. We have got there. Who do you predict to win this game, says Kevin? Well, Munster came in as favourites, but the Bulls, they are very capable. Hi, Hamish, shout out from Lila in Rustenburg, South Africa. Thanks for your excellent commentary always. Bulls forever, says Knockwing. And thank you very much for being here. Tonight depends on which Bulls team turns up. Exactly right. If they come out firing, they'll be hard to beat. But if they come into this game looking a little bit lethargic, and not quite on that same level that we're used to, then I think it's going to be a tough one. Munster will not go down without a fight here, even though they'll be fatigued from their recent contests. But scrum feed now, and it's gone down already. PRD will ask for the reset. And go the Bulls, says Tian. And there as well, and Connor Murray. They are just showing his name there. He is starting. I want a team entirely made up of midgets from different countries, says Drape. I mean, you could recommend it to World Rugby, see how it goes. We have got there, Hamish, we can agree to disagree, but I'm surprised Benetton Italy was too strong for the Lions. I am not. Like, when you look at the season and what Benetton have done away from home every once in a while, even in the quarterfinals last year, they proved that they are a top contender when they play well. And they just outclassed the Lions pretty much across the whole park in that game. And the Lions, they had heart. They fought back. There's going to be now a free kick going the way of Munster. We can agree to disagree. So what is the argument that you're making, Albert? You're saying that because they had international players in their starting lineup, they should have won? Because I assume by that same logic, the Sharks should have won by a lot more than they did up against Edinburgh, even though they've got their fair share of international players, seeing as they have to play somewhere. And bro, the way you say my name, says Tian. And also we have got there Murray going to France, says Jimbo. That's the thing, there's big money overseas. Same with the Japanese top league. Who do you think is the best team in the URC? At the moment, Leinster are sitting right at the top. Early call, but based on judgment, arguably Munster to sneak it through. However, Munster been underperforming when it matters most, so do expect them to get the W today. But to choke in the playoffs, says Reynaldo. Yeah, that's the thing. At the moment, the way that they sit Munster here, they should make the quarters. But, with the other side starting to climb, could they find themselves up against Leinster? Glasgow, perhaps? Lions really never stood a chance, and everyone underestimates Italy, says Albert. I mean, the Lions, though, going into that contest, we've got to remember, Benetton either are 100 or 0 in terms of the way that they have played. They've lost games by 50 this year. They have beaten sides that they shouldn't have. So it was probably a fair enough statement to think that the Lions had a chance in that game. They were at home, altitude. They had a rest week last week going into the game. So, they were fresh. Frankie Horn getting injured in the first few minutes of the game, that certainly didn't help them as they lost their structure under him. And Hamish, good commentary. Always good to listen to you. Going to be a good game. The fly halves might have the last say, says Funny. Nicely claimed by the Bulls. A bounce past Ambrose Papia off the line out. Not exactly what you would normally see. Now rolling ball here. Now, bit of a counter-ruck there from Munster. Physicality, the forefront, and they have managed to steal the ball. So the Bulls caught napping there. And Munster making the most of it. Murray back across now to Andrew Smith. Goes to Crowley. Does kick it down the middle of the field where there is a lot of space back there. Kane and Moody. Got some heavy strapping on that left leg. Does kick it downfield. Chance on the halfway line. Beautifully taken by Crowley. And not only taken, but he keeps his feet underneath him. Who's the best player in the URC? I think that is definitely down to interpretation. I can tell you who's the top of the URC power rankings, if that means anything to you. As they do have the list of the top 100 players based off stats and all that kind of thing. Afternoon, Hamish, says Nico B. Welcome in. That's going to be an advantage now going the way of Munster. Cross kick attempted. Nicely taken by Andrew Smith, running out of space near the sideline. Thick Abraham's trying to run away from Aka van der Merwe, who's going to wrestle him down, and they'll go back for the penalty. Yeah, the top 100 at the moment, according to the URC, number one player in the comp is Oxnashare, carrying is 86.2. Defending is 92.4 with an overall of 95.2. Second is Eldrick Lowe. Third is Gerhard Stennekamp. So all top three coming from South Africa. Final four, Leinster versus the Bulls and Sharks versus Glasgow. Eventually Leinster finally to break their trophy cabinet drought. URC 2025 champs and Heineken. Also, you're saying they're going to double up. They've gone with the wee while without a cup in their cupboard, Leinster, and would be pretty impressive if they get both. But the thing is, they have looked really strong this week. Stormers win 34 points to 29. Yeah, the late last-minute cancellation of Connacht's try. The Stormers had that win by 5, but they would have been nervous with Cordero crossing that try line late. And that says Obi and Munster 3-0. Says Blue Bulls super fan in there as well, but the crowd go a deadly silent. As Jack Crowley lines it up. Also going to use up as much time as he can. And it does go over. So they'll make the score now 3-0 high again. Irish Clash of the big gun, says Ruth. But first 8 minutes, they have said, have gone the way of Munster just because of that physicality battle in the breakdown, managing to bulldoze over the Bulls. And then also the kick going over from Crowley. So reaping the rewards of a little bit of extra aggression there. Now, going to be nicely claimed by Munster just outside of their 22. Who's going to smash this? Oh, I think it once again comes down to what someone said earlier on, and it depends on how aggressive and what type of Bulls side show up here. Because they can play games where they are absolutely phenomenal, and then they can have games where they struggle. And the thing is, they can even have the same game where they experience both sides, where they all of a sudden just drop off. Oh, that's an awkward one for the Bulls at the back. It might have even hit the hand of Devin Williams. Johan Horsen, his back foot very close to the touchline, but does kick it down the middle of the field. Respect the kicker. Started in Thorpman when O'Gara was their 10. Says Jimbo running forward. Thicker Abrahams going for the chip in behind. Nicely claimed by Ruan Nokia. Dragged down by Thicker Abrahams, a player about 1.5 of his size. And Broads Papier On off to the right-hand side to Kirsten, who tries to get back up to his feet, but he's dragged down by Ollie Jaeger. Used to play for the Crusaders, who are having quite the season at the moment in Super Rugby Pacific. Currently find themselves in second, just behind the Chiefs. Nicely claimed. Now passing across to this right-hand side. Take a run from Sean O'Brien. Got a few changes compared to what they had in that last match up against Bordeaux. Now backline, Nankerville goes to Farrell. Kicks it in behind, sits up for Johan Goosen, who offloads it back to Devin Williams. Partially charged down kick, but that actually makes it a little bit more competitive. Crowley waiting for the bounce. Decides to run, and he has been smashed there in the tackle by Sebastian de Klerk. Any thoughts on Rugby World Cup? Oh, sorry, Club World Cup. Best 8 from the URC, best 4 of English, best 4 of France, best 8 of Super Rugby, few from Japanese League 1. They have talked about it being an option, but the biggest concern for me is the fact that it's going to take away the international window for when the competition has taken place. But I guess it all works out if everyone is playing in it anyway. But yeah, it means that we'll have about 3 less international games that year for all the sides. How we are good there. I think you must ask Dad to help. Then you can get some sleep, says Dad. Well, it's currently 4:27 a.m. in New Zealand, so I think if I said to Dad, went and woke him up and said, hey, you want to do some commentary for me? If I had woken him, I don't think he'd be very happy. But he will be happy later on, because once this game's finished, I'm going to wait a little bit and then I'm going to cook some breakfast. So if they are up early enough, they'll be able to get some too. Let's go Munster, bring back the 2023 URC vibes. And someone has a link. Sadly, it's just through TVNZ Plus, DSTV. A couple options in Ireland, I believe, to be able to watch this game too. And morning, Kiwi lads. Everyone, hi. See you, Spider-Meek. Welcome in. And perhaps only international games in autumn. We do the Club World Cup, says Ronaldo, I should say. Yeah, I think that it would be that mid-year. But then the problem is if you've got finals before it, everyone's going to be fatigued, aren't they? And yeah, I hope they can find a way of doing it without compromising other competitions. Amazing, you're still pretty energetic for. And as Ruanoki are playing, he certainly is all interception from Munster, but they did have the penalty advantage already, the Bulls. It's could have been a runaway there for Andrew Smith. And 4:25 a.m. Penalty does go the way of the Bulls. This one would be a kickable 3. I think Villy LaRue could become the greatest attack coach ever if he decides to stay in rugby, says Albert. Yeah, that's a really nice cross kick attempted from Johan Goosen, just didn't quite have the distance on it. And Jimbo says Spider-Meek, and also wow, says Ruth. Now 22 metres out from the line, Akafanamurva. He's going to have himself the attacking line out, rolling maul of the Bulls. It's what they will look to use. Munster's rolling maul defence hasn't been terrible in the last little while. Here comes Harold Foster off the back. Would love to see New Zealand teams go to the URC. Says Tian. And can't wait for Pollard. Bulls need a real general. And yes, Eric from George. Now passed on the outside. Sebastian de Klerk. Only 10 metres out. Just next to the touch line. Now Marcel Kurtzia. This is a nice bit of play from the Bulls. Just getting a few phases together. Wilco low. Met by the rush defence of, I believe it would have been Kendallin. That time it was actually Niles Scannell. Good positive attitude to the Bulls. Yeah, I think that's what they have to go into the early stages of. Like these games, just going out there thinking that they're going to score. Munster struggled in the lineouts last week, says Albert. Yeah, they did struggle a little bit up against Bordeaux, although up against La Rochelle was one of their big factors that helped them stay in the contest, being competitive. Now going off to the right, this looks like a bad neck injury here, which they might actually have to stop the game for. Yes, Munster not looking too good here. It will be a scrum for the Bulls. Now we have good there, putting club rugby aside for now. Does a box have a realistic chance of a 27-3-peat, says Reynaldo. Someone said earlier on, the comment was, it's guaranteed. Now, I mean, that is certainly a high level of confidence, but that's what they said. They said it's guaranteed. 2027's going home. They said no other side's going to be close. and just logged on now. How did the score happen? Says Robert, just the 3 points for Munster early on after the Bulls gave away a penalty. MJ's still asleep. I visited Gwen yesterday with some flowers. Says Spider Meek and getting ready for WrestleMania 41. Can't wait. Says Blues Nate. Looks like Ollie Jaeger. He's going to go off for the HIA. It's great to see him back to his feet, though, because for a while he was just lying there. Stephen Archer probably making his way on the field about 50 minutes earlier than he anticipated. And that is going to be for the Ollie Jaeger head injury assessment. But now, Ambros Papier. The scrum, this is where we might see the Bulls try and get that penalty advantage, put in the big shove, and then go for the pass out wide. No 6 tries in this half. Says Jimbo. Yeah, it does seem like it's going to be a lot lower scoring. Interesting fact. I always, Easter, weigh their own egg hunt, says Bruce. Charming. But now, scrum feed. You've got the change in that front row. Stephen Archer on for Jaeger, which already probably changes the dynamics of the scrum a little bit. And it's gone down. Another free kick goes the way of the Bulls. That's an interesting tap. Cameron Honeycomb actually going off his knee rather than his foot. Is that I assume it's legal, right? But I've just never seen someone tap it off their knee rather than off their foot. Now, Akafunda Merva trying to go around the side, gets his offload away to Kirsten, who will have a very good shot of getting within a couple of metres. Now, Honeycomb spins. Bros Papier, this one's only going to be about half a metre out, if that, so he should be able... Oh no, it's popped out the back door. Slipped through the hands, still under penalty advantage. And they have got the try this time. Marcel Kutsia, the guy who pops up with it. So the first try of the contest goes the way of the Bulls. Is it Papier or is it Paper? Says Kevin. So it has got an E in there. And we have got the oops, sorry. Says Jimbo there with the try. But yeah, that ball just popped out the back. Marcel Kutsia, really nicely done. Goes over the breakdown. Once again, that is something that's been debated a little bit in the past. I know that Kini Naholo had a try disallowed in Super Rugby for jumping over the breakdown to score it, or at least diving forward to score that try. I think they've said that the breakdown was rattled enough that he could still go through it. That is going to be converted by Johan Hussen too, making the score 7-3 in favour of the away team. Go the Bulls. Says Luke, either going France or the box for the World Cup triumph. Wallabies to make the Final Four. For the first time since 2015. His surname is Papier. Says Julian, that is correct. And yeah, try says Spider Mick there too. Yeah, I think Jack Crowley's just asking the question about whether or not the tap counts if you go off your knee rather than your foot. It's a genuine, I guess, question to ask. I don't know what the rule is, because I know that when it's on the ground, you always see them tapping it with their foot, picking it up. When it's a quick tap, you normally see the foot involved too, but you're off the knee, and that's gone out on the full from Crowley, from a backman, Bachman, never let New Zealand for 2027, says 10. And the Bulls are the favourites. I'm going Munster, my bro. And Bulls pack flexing, says Jimbo. And they're going, come on, Papier, Hussen, my guy, you're next level. Says Christo, currently live on the standings. They would go ahead of Glasgow, but of course the Glasgow Warriors have still got themselves a game around the corner, and praising the Springboks as always attacked by other countries because South Africa are a backs against the wall kind of team. It's also very easy to praise a side that have won back-to-back World Cups. They also have had an impressive record over the last few years. Knee/foot, same in the laws, says Jimbo. So I guess it's similar to like the hands and like a forearm or bicep, shoulder all count as knock on too, I guess. It's all a limb, isn't it? And legal to tap from the knee, says Fanny. Yeah, something you really don't see often in a game. And the Bulls come out firing, but I predict Munster will win, says Ruben. And now the Bulls going for the kick in behind from Johan Hussen. Oh, Papier did end up with a foot in touch. Doesn't look happy about it, but it will now be an opportunity again here for the Bulls. They considered taking it quickly, or at least Ambros Papier looked like he wanted to. We're going to see the replay now. Yeah, foot on the sideline. In fact, 2 feet out for Fika Abrahams. Will be another line out here for Akka van der Merwe. Last one got them a little bit closer to that try line. And well claimed, uncontested by Munster. It's nice to be praised, but never let it go to your head, and you'll hear Rassie. Says revenge now breaking off the back for Akka van der Merwe. Hello, my mate. My prediction is that the Bulls will win this game. How are you? Says Glenn, doing very well. We're up to our 5th live stream in a row. Been streaming for the past about 10 hours, or maybe 9.5. It's not too far. Jake picked his strongest possible team. Says Albert. Yeah, they will definitely want to make sure that they are getting the full points available. And I think it's because of the importance of this URC comp now for the Bulls. Jake White said when it came to the Champions Cup, it's not the comp we're after. We want to win the URC. So now they have to make sure they do it. It's going to be stolen there by Munster. I'm back into the pocket. Crowley. We'll kick this one towards the touchline. That is a very good kicker. At least gets them a few meters to be able to play with. And we have got there a famous try by Stockdale versus England. And rule explained to Owen Farrell. Says Jimbo there. And you can't tackle anyone from chest down. Above is a no-no. You can tackle anyone from the chest down. And also come on, Munster. Says Sebastian, you're getting themselves the early 3 points. I can't believe we're already 20 minutes into this game as well. I don't know what it is about today, but the games have gone quicker than they seem like they should. That didn't feel like 20 minutes. That felt like 10, maybe 15 if we're really dragging it out, but certainly not 20. Good afternoon, Sebastian, says Jimbo. There as well. The Bulls, they will be chasing that bonus point as that would take them above Glasgow just on current standings. I wonder who is exactly ranked 100 in the top 100 rankings. It is actually Hugh Jones of the Glasgow Warriors. I did mention how there were the top 3 sides or top 3 players, all South African. Then it does go to Jack Conan of Leinster, Paul Hill of Edinburgh was one of the props. The props actually get some decent ratings by the looks of that. Within the top 10, there are 4 props. And hey, Hamish, your beast was streaming for 10 hours, says Dan. You don't realise at the time how long it is, but then when you look at it from outside, that is actually a bit crazy to talk for that long, flat out. The voice will be gone tomorrow, I would say. And doing fantastic game, great commentary, all Arvo and Knight. I think New Zealand learnt to handle the pressure finally after 2007 in World Cups. I don't think any team has more pressure on them on average than New Zealand. Jake said they only have 5, maybe 7 games left in the year. So full strength from here, says Albert. And yeah, hopefully it doesn't affect the Springbok selections. Of course, guys going down now, they will more than likely be out for those July internationals. But you've got to do what's best for the side at the moment, and that is trying to stack the teams as much as possible. We've got 2 big games. One up against Munster here, and then the one up against Glasgow around the corner. And the chance at a home semi-final, and even the home final, if the favourites get knocked out, could be on the cards. Just made a snack, crackers with cheese. Says Ruth. Who's your favourite football team in England? I don't actually really have one. I don't really know who's at any of the sides, to be honest, since maybe I want to say 2021 was probably the last time I actually knew roughly who was where. Now kicked high. Chance here for the Bulls. Sebastian de Klerk went up for it, but it is going to be another penalty going the way of this Bulls side. Jimbo has gifted the 5 memberships. Thank you very much. However, their box will be fine as long as Peter Setoy is fit to play. Says Albert. So if he's not, are you saying that they could end up struggling a bit? I still feel like they've got a few guys in that loose forward trio who could step up. I'm curious to know what their plan is with Khaleesi, because we've seen him play so much of 8 for the Sharks, but with the injury of Jesper Wiese, people have talked about whether it's Evan Roos or Cameron Honeycomb, but could we see Honeycomb slot into 6 with Khaleesi as an 8? Maybe? Or will they just go stock standard what they've done the whole way through, go 6 Khaleesi and just go from there. Get in Jimbo, says Sebastian, go the Bulls, says Luke. Now chance here for a kick for 3. This will be Johan Husson from about 45 metres out on the angle. Won't be an impossible kick for him. But has to strike it well, which it looks like he has done. And it's gone over again. No one at the game. Munster are bad. Sunshine supporters, says XRP. What do you mean? Like, it looks like a decent crowd at Thorntman Park, to be fair. Certainly looks better than we saw at that Lions game up against Benetton. I think you could almost count how many people were there on 2 hands. And I've got the Bulls going to win the final. Says Clunan, go the Bulls, says Yako. And also Munster may be favourites to win, but when South African teams are given no chance, they often do well, says Ruben. And busy day listening to the rugby, says Ruth. And go the Bulls, says Yako. And please, can you explain what is a neck roll? So pretty much, I'm not an expert in any of the laws at all, but it's pretty much when you're in a breakdown and someone pretty much goes high as if it was a high tackle, but you're on the ground because, of course, you're in the breakdown, and then they just kind of roll you. It's similar to the croc roll in some regards if you do end up doing it badly. At top test level, small differences matter. In close games, the Box struggle without Peter Steph Toy, says Albert. 2007-2009 Springboks was solid. Our real champs, Percy Montgomery. And Bulls totally controlling this. Munster need to snap out of it, says Jimbo. And neck roll is above the chest roll, says Ruth. But now, going to be a chance there. Going off to the left-hand side, you hold a neck and roll like twist. Little chip in behind. Caden Moody waiting for this one to come down. In fact, it was more than a chip. It actually went very high. It's twisting a player in the ruck, says Jimbo. Now, ball is there for Munster inside of their own 22. It wasn't taken back, so Connor Murray could kick this one into touch once they go with a couple more phases. Percy Montgomery is the GOAT, says Ruth. Now kicked high. Connor Murray does manage to just about find touch, but it does actually stay in the field of play. Yes, Bulls' strongest team for now. But can still bring in Stennekamp, Marco, Ludwig, Hans, Curly Ardense, and Villy LaRue. Hopefully they're ready to playoffs, or ready for the playoffs, says Eric. I've been supporting the Bulls for 53 years. You've probably seen a lot of ups and downs throughout that time, I would say, Cluan. One thing they have yet to do is win the URC. And they have got their focus firmly on it this year. And we have got there. So glad that you're still here. Thank you for sacrificing sleep. Much appreciated. And thank you. Says Robert. And Hamish, is this the time of the year when South Africa strikes? As in like their club teams? Or, oh, nice cross kick there from Houston. Sits up there for Sebastian de Klerk. Passes, but Andrew Smith, in fact, this time it was Sean O'Brien got a crucial steal that stopped the try. Listening to Rassi, it seems Khaleesi at 8 is an idea for Oz World Cup in 2027. Says Albert. And let's have URC wrapped up. I mean, we've said that, though, the last few years, and then it seems to go wrong in those final games. Right, looks like a drop kick attempt here for Johan Husson, and it is nowhere near, gone away to the side. Now, nice step from Thika Abrahams. Nicely done. And no, Munster. I'm from Munster and live in Cork. And remember that year that the Bulls got 3 log points for the entire season. Our boys came a long way, says Dan Botter, passed on the outside. Now Kinderlin moving into the half of the Bulls. Munster, this is probably their best little attack and play that they have had in quite some time. Stephen Archer. Almost a steal for Jan Hendrik Wessels, but he's given away the penalty. Crowley going across to Nankervel. Skips through the hands of Andrew Smith. They will go back. Leinster at home in the final. We have to agree this year. They must surely do it, says Albert. And Leinster have nothing wrapped up, says Jimbo. And that is from someone who was through and through Leinster, in that case for Jimbo. I think that the unpredictability of rugby nowadays just makes it too hard to call. Like, every favourite on a given day can be beaten. One's going to be kicked into touch. I like Houston as a player. Such a shame he was so prone to injuries in his early days. Says Bruce. Who do you think will win? I think that Like, going into this match, I thought that Munster would have a decent shot here just because the Bulls away from home haven't had the best record. But, like, I still think that, like, the Bulls are definitely going to get towards those 4 tries. 2 tries gone begging already. Story of the Bulls season, says Eric. And lets his eyes on the Champions Cup, says Jimbo. Well, that's the thing. Being in both those competitions, it's either going to be a very nice little moment for Leinster across those couple weeks, because, of course, the finals are all happening around that same time, or it's going to be brutal, because last year we actually saw when they lost, I think it was the Champions Cup playoffs, it actually really affected them for their next ones. Abadaji and Geordie, they're unbeatable. Sears Albert. An Ox have brains. And Amy, difference between Bulls and an Ox. Ox has brains. Currently, Ox and Shea sitting number 1 in the overall standings of the URC. Elric Lowe, Gerhard Stennekamp in 2nd and 3rd, I did see. So, quite a bit of South African flair inside of that top 10. Fire up Munster home ground fans. Make some noise. Albert is saying F all, says ACDV. And what do you think the score will be? That I don't know. Like, I think it's going to be lower scoring than that last game that we saw, though, between the Stormers and Connacht. I remember this is the Bulls away game. No TV easy in Ireland, says Robert. And the best scrum half for the Bulls was Jus van der Vestes, and that is a big push. Both front rows just wheeling around there. I want to see another scrum there. Munster fans not happy with that scrum. They felt like they did get the better of it with the push. Just and Ox. I think Bulls 31, Munster 22, says Yako. I can't believe we're 28 minutes into the game already. It's just felt like 20, if that. And Ofori Dupre was best for the Bulls. And the Bulls by 10, says Dan. And I think that top 3 players in the URC being South African proves that load shedding works, says Revenge. And Ofori Dupre of the Bulls was also brilliant, says Outlaw, and good call Yako. Says Jimbo in there too. Now it's gone down this time again inside of their own 22 with the Bulls. Oh, selling a dummy from Johan Huijsen to give himself a few extra meters. Does get the ball into touch. Juice was good, but Fori Dupre as the GOAT for sure, says Alexander. Now 10 minutes remaining in this first half. It has been relatively competitive. Just that one try coming for Marcel Kutsia. Other than that, though, it's been very even. Munster taking the 3 early. Huijsen also managing to get 3-2. Dupre and Juice was both fantastic, says Outlaw. Now thrown in by Niall Scannell, taken at the front from Jean Klein. Tackle by Cameron Hanekom, tried to turn it into a maul, but it does go down. Bulls going to be happy winning today, says Yako. Now Connor Murray, going for the kick high again. Sebastian de Klerk, he's been fantastic under the high ball so far. I believe that's about his 3rd take of it. Ross Papier goes back across pretty much the 1998-99 team. Was a fun time, says Revenge. Now Papier back into the pocket again to Huijsen. Jason after this. Kane and Moody can't quite get their hand to it. Thackeray Abrahams, awkward bouncing ball. David Creel does make the tackle on him. Now pressure on Tom Farrell too. The Bulls swarming into that breakdown. It's well done by Munster. Keep it on their side. 30 metres out from their own line now. Niall Scannell again moves forward. Munster with Connor Murray. He will kick it high. It's a tactic that we've seen from both of these teams. Oh, an ugly challenge in the air. Johan Huijsen tried to get their hand to it. I think Smith got more of it, though. Who do you think will be the man of the match? Tricky one, I would say. I think that already Sebastian de Klerk, if he scores 1 try in this game, he's definitely right up there for me in terms of a contender for man of the match. But I think he wouldn't need a try, or else they'll probably look at someone else. We have got my favourite fly half is Mornay Stain as the GOAT, says Cluin. Now will be the scrum feed here for the Bulls. And Hamish Troy gets man of the year. And just can't disagree with you. Says revenge. Oh no, in fact, sorry, Munster have got themselves the scrum feed. Who's your favourite club team? Honestly, like, as weird as it sounds, I don't really have one. Like, I love watching a lot of sides play, which is great because it means that each weekend we get to see some brilliant rugby action, but I think I'm too unbiased to be able to pick a team. And Brian Mornay staying under pressure was amazing. Says Dan Borta. This ref is terrible at the scrums. He seems like he's not handling the pressure of them very well at the moment for Piatti. He's actually got both front rows over next to him now and giving them like a stern warning. National team says Yako. I mean, I'm from New Zealand, so it should be the All Blacks, but I feel like because we've done so many impartial streams, like we do videos on the All Blacks, we do videos on the Springboks, do videos on Fiji, pretty much any side. So, yeah, I honestly, like, if the All Blacks win, I know that people in New Zealand will be happy. If they lose, I know they won't be, but I'm honestly fine either way. Join the Leinster crew, says the XRP, but I can't join it now because earlier on you mentioned about people supporting Munster with Sunshine supporters. So if I was to support Leinster now, that would make me a Sunshine supporter because they're looking pretty good at the moment. What you must know about Hamish is that even the Swiss would consider him neutral. Hamish, how come all the dogs in South Africa are called? No idea. I also playing rugby at the moment while commenting, Yako, or this season I assume might be the case, because if you're multitasking while we're out there on the field, that is extremely impressive. Hamish likes the Western Force 0% or 0.1% more than the Reds, so there you go. Says revenge. Now, a little bit of a scramble. Munster, 40 metres out from their line, looking to go right again. It sounds like Bok management has taken the AB's tests very seriously, as they will have to, because if they didn't, and, you know, that's the game that I think, I want to say 95% of people are looking forward to the most in terms of international rugby. So if those are the games that you're not putting everything into, you know, those are the ones that have the most eyes on them. That's a great take. Currently, Munster have moved into the half, trying to grubber. It wasn't the right decision, but luckily for Munster, it has bounced back into their hands. Andrew Smith now passes across to Thaka Abrahams with a standing start around the halfway line, crushed by Wilco Lowe. Bulls scragging Crowley every chance. He'll need a good hot bath. Now, nice run forward from Tom Farrell. Goodbye, Sebastian de Klerk. Back across to the left here. This is Munster's best chance, I do feel, in quite some time, so they have to capitalise, and they get themselves the penalty too, and Bros Papier kicks it away so that there was no chance of it being taken quickly. We're playing League One next week, says Yako. And that AB's box test at Eden Park, I can't wait, says Dan. Just really nice take under the high ball. I think it was Thomas Ahern. And Odin Sear versus St. Helena. First league round. Now, do Munster go for the corner here? It looks like they're going to, which is an interesting choice. They are down at the moment. We've seen multiple sides be down 10 points to 3 and actually take another 3-pointer. And most of those sides have actually gone on to win this weekend. So, interesting choice here for Munster. I'm playing lock 4. And Bucky Esbotha and Victor Matfield, the best combo ever for the Bulls in the Bok, says Julian. And Bros Babia just absolutely boots it away. But it stopped a quick tap chance. Now line out throw for Niles Scannell with 35 minutes through this match. Currently sitting 10 points to 3. And contested by Ruan Nokia. No one joining in for the rolling maul. So in fact, Kendallin was just able to run away for himself. In fact, there might have actually been Jack O'Donoghue, another late change in this match. Now, currently sitting 5 metres out from the line, Wycherley. Tackled by Akafunda Merva. Connor Murray goes across to Tom Ahern. I'll tell you the points when we meet again. Says Yako off to Alex Nankerville. They're trying to hold him up. They've been told to let him go. Murray, looking both ways, decides left is the option. Niall Scannell, big shot on him. Murray uses it quickly, goes off to Tyburn, close to the sideline here. This is possibly going to be their best chance of the half. And that's a great steal, though, from the Bulls. Although locking over the ball, I thought Wycherley was going to be able to get it back. In fact, there's a knock-on from the Bulls. Only 1 metre out from the line. Ball has popped up. Crowley's tackled without the ball by Husson. And it looks like now they're going to get in each other's face. I don't know why Husson is so fired up there. He was the one who tackled him when he didn't have possession. And how is the Bulls playing, good or bad? They haven't been too bad throughout this match, I will say. Although now we're starting to see maybe the disciplines start to fade, which can cause a few problems for them. And so Crowley not having the ball. Husson tackles him. Oh, he slams his head on the ground there, Crowley. You don't really want to do that too often. Oh no, the Bulls hold up or hold on to the damn ball. Hurry up, Connor, do your magic stuff. Why is the ref is whispering? It's as if he doesn't want anyone to hear him, forgetting that he's mic'd up. So we did hear him. He's saying that it is going to be a scrum, but there is going to be a bit of a warning here to the Bulls. As South Africa versus New Zealand currently the biggest match, Test rugby, or will it be South Africa versus France in your opinion? I think Southern Hemisphere-wise, a lot of people have been saying New Zealand versus South Africa, but the fact that they also play France in the same calendar, like, it's pretty awesome. Our last game we won 27 points to 14. Nice soft turf at Fortmont. Right, next one is going to be, by the sounds of it, a yellow card. So they've pretty much been told to sort the discipline out. Don't start the off-the-ball stuff. Turn up his mic, turn up his mic. Says Sebastian. So in fact, my apologies, is actually upgraded to a penalty because of that Johan Husson moment, I believe. And South Africa vs Ireland is a hard game. Says Yako. Ref whispering means he's up to no good. Looks like they're going to take the quick tap. Connor Murray doesn't go off his knee, but instead taps it with his foot. They will go now off to the right-hand side. Blue being told to release. Also has to try and roll out of there. Short ball off to Farrell. One of the offload sits up for Tyburn. This is great goal line defence at the moment here from the Bulls. Oh, getting himself offside there, unfortunately. And it is going to be the advantage now for offside. 1 metre out. Connor Murray gets it across to Tyburn, who was calling for it, but it was an awful pass low. Double blow of the whistle here. This might be a yellow card now for the Bulls. This is the same ref that was the ref in the URC first final. And no hope at all for the Bulls. I know this is going to be the final warning by the sounds of it. We've got advantage from Blues Nate. Ireland needs to be out of form for South Africa to beat them at the moment. Says revenge and try time. Yeah, at the moment, they're right on the verge of it, but they haven't been able to cross that try line. But Murray now, can he find that killer pass? That will get them over the line. Backline movement now. Frawley, oh, that's good hands from Thacker Abrahams. As it was pretty much behind him. He caught it with his hand in his buttocks and managed to control it from there, bring it back round, and does score the try. So Munster right back into it near the end of the half. Thought I knew my rugby, but what's a 50-22? Says Robert. So 50-22 is when you kick the ball from inside of your own half and it bounces into touch inside of the opposition 22. If you're able to do it successfully and you haven't taken the ball back into your own half to do so, you do get the line out throw. Just give it a try for the ref and move on, says Eric. And try, says Sebastian there, but Thacker Abrahams does finish the job. I knew the ref was an ass. And let's go do your magics, Connor. Get Crowley now. 2 minutes left. He's got only 8 seconds, so using up as many of those seconds as he can. Although he did that in one of the other games and actually lost his accuracy when doing so. But it's worked here. Gone over, making the score now 10-10. Heading towards the 40-minute break. I disagree. Revenge, if England can beat them, I think South Africa can as well. But I do think Ireland should win, but it depends on what South African shows up. Says Jack, and Andre Watson was the best referee for South Africa. I don't like it when other teams score against my team, says Revenge. That's probably understandable. Yeah. Probably not a nice feeling. Now, Johan Hussein does kick this one off. 90 seconds remaining in the half. Well claimed by, would have been Tom Farrell. This is a hard game going down to the wire. Might be a draw. Yeah, we've had a lot of close games throughout this weekend, whether that's Super Rugby or the URC. The most recent game between Stormers and Connacht was close. Sharks versus Edinburgh. Sharks scored a lot against the Quins today, says Sebastian, but did they win? Or did they lose in the end? I know that the Quins love a good comeback. Although I have a feeling that by that statement, maybe they did not. Quins, okay, 43-29, not awful, but probably not what they were after. 10-all, what's next first half almost finished, says Ruth. Yeah, the Bulls have got themselves penalised there for not releasing, which means Munster will be able to make their way down the field for this line out. This is where even if they were able to take a 3-pointer right at the end of the half, they'd be pretty happy. Definitely with the fact that the Bulls were able to score that first try. A line-out chance here for Niall Scannell, and Ireland are a bit of a bogey team for South Africa these days, I feel. And Leinster is playing a great season. They certainly are. Like, they will be the team to beat. But, you know, you just never know when it comes to those playoff games whether or not Leinster are going to be able to break that curse that they've had. The ref is an ex-Munster player ages ago, says Spider Mech. Now, nicely claimed by Aka van der Merwe, kicking downfield for Johan Hussein. Now, I wouldn't be surprised. Thick Abraham's gone for, I don't know what he's doing there. If it's a 50-22 attempted, it's after the 40 minutes. Hussein kicks it into touch, and that will now be half-time. Yes, it will. 10 points to 10. I think Johan Hussein has just realised that those two were having a bit of a kicking battle without knowing that it was halftime by Kiwi. I'll tell you next week the points of our league, says Yako. And halftime, I want to make lemon tea, so hurry up, says Bruce. So yeah, we will have about a 15-minute break now between the halves, although we are, of course, still going to be here for that break period. But close game between these two sides. 10-all, good game this. Ref on good momentum now, says Eric. And there as well. And I'll tell you what, we are currently sitting 5:03 a.m. here in New Zealand. The hunger is starting to kick in, ladies and gents. I've had a piece of toast. I've had a banana for today. I've done the 10 hours worth of streaming, so I'm ready for a good old-fashioned fry-up of a breakfast. Aka next Springbok, says Julian, and Quagga Smith is the ultimate modern player. He's a brilliant impact player off the bench. I don't think there's anyone better off the bench than Quagga. But we will get some stats up. This is one of a hard game. A very intense matchup, says LFG. And Hamish, you're doing fantastic. Nothing like it. Cook up English breakfast. I think I might have to. I've got sausages and hash browns. And maybe eggs. I might have eggs too. I love pump lemon flavour, says Luke. We will get the stats up for this second half. We will go there. We will go here as well. Sausages, eggs, and hash browns. Good evening, Hamish. Just finished our braai. Or our braai, I think that would be from Gerhard. So hopefully it all went well. I'm sure if I asked you what you had on it, it will just make me even more hungry at this point. A prediction, 22 points to 30 in favour of the Bulls. And pineapple juice and gin, and come to Ireland, Hamish. We'll change that water for Guinness, says Jimbo. And also braai, pork, lamb, and waters. And also sausages, eggs, and hash browns. And what was the Super Rugby scores, says Tian. So Super Rugby this round, I've got some of them still here, but I can tell you the others that aren't on this one. So, no, that's not it, actually. In fact, we might not have it, but I can just tell you. So, the Blues, they were defeated by the Crusaders by 3 points for the Friday night fixture. Moana Pacifica were defeated by the Brumbies 24-0. Fiji and Drua won their game up against the Waratahs. I think it was 26-14. Highlanders were beaten by the Chiefs 46-10. And then Western Force Hurricanes was a 19-all draw or a 17-all draw. But yeah, they went to Golden Point. No one scored. So they ended in the draw. Whenever Hamish stops talking, we can hear the crickets outside and notice the cat is there. I don't think it would be my cat. My cat's dead. So not sure where that cat's coming from. I love how you say waters, Hamish. I love it when you speak foreign, says Christopher. However, they're better first half by the Bulls, but fading last 10 minutes of the second half. Bench not very strong. Says Eric, it's Honeycomb doing all right. Honestly, very quiet in this match. Haven't seen a huge amount of him, which feels a bit weird because normally he is one of those guys that you just see absolutely everywhere. Bulls dominated first 30 minutes and the last 10 have been sloppy. Says LFG. And we have got their Chiefs back to their winning ways, says Gerhard. And the Bulls 38-29. As at Yako's prediction. Irish Cat Dogs, it's animal time, says Roof. And tongue bitten, says Sebastian. In there too. Yeah, second half, I would say, with a bit of luck, it will be just as close. I did think that both of these sides would have a decent chance of getting a bonus point, but I think their defences are well and truly keeping them in it. Thanks, says Tian. No worries at all. SDK thrown away a clear try. But he's also good, says Eric. And also we have got there when will Eldrick Lowe come back. Not too sure of when the exact date will be. I'm wearing my colours and my pick, Sebastian, says Jimbo. And very nice colours they are. Do Leinster play Munster again before the end of this comp? We'll have a quick look. I know that people do love that Irish derby when it takes place. Leinster playing Ulster this week. So Scarlets, Leinster next week. Munster do play Cardiff. Leinster play Zebre. And Munster play Ulster. And then Leinster play Glasgow in the last round. That's a really tough game to finish on for the sides. I was a former football referee for FIFA South Africa, says Clue in there. And also we have got there, do you remember Tape Henning? In the early days, you could see his Chesterfield pack in his shorts pocket. And Jimbo, mate, I would love to say that I'm happy about that, but I would be lying. And Eldrick only back next season. So here's Eric there. And currently, there is another game of the URC taking place at this very point in time. Scarlets are leading 7 points to 5 after 28 minutes. Any team play extra time yet? Yes. Most recent Super Rugby game, Western Force versus the Hurricanes, did go to Golden Point. Neither side able to score any points throughout that 10-minute period, though, so they did end in a draw. So a little bit of an anticlimactic one, I guess you could say, for the first extra point time of the season. 53% possession for Munster in this one. 11 clean breaks for the Bulls. 11 defenders beaten for the Bulls compared to the 10 of Munster. Last it was Leinster 52, Glasgow 0. But I do think that Glasgow will go with a stronger lineup in this one. And I also do think with where they're sitting on the URC and the implications around that, they will put in a much better performance. But yeah, they certainly won't want to suffer a loss like they had in that last one. The crest of my hat is the Dublin City crest, capital of Leinster. Rifgardi was a good rugby referee for South Africa. In terms of the defensive stats, both sides tackling at 79%. Turnovers 1-2 for Munster compared to the 1 of the Bulls. Penalties conceded, though. That is where these two sides have been heavily separated. Penalties 7 against the Bulls compared to the 2 that we have seen from Munster. So that could be a big game changer as this match does wear on. If the discipline does continue to fade, maybe we see a yellow card come out. They were already on their last warning. Near the end of the first half, the Bulls will play Glasgow later on. Says Yako, they are going to be playing them next week. We will be covering that one on the channel. It is a 6:35 a.m. kickoff on Saturday morning, so a bit of a brutal time, but we will be up, just like we were for that Sharks game when they did go head-to-head with Edinburgh. But yeah, Glasgow versus Bulls, that will be an 8:35 p.m. kickoff for you guys on Friday night in South Africa. Connacht versus Lions will be a 4 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. Stormers versus Benetton, 6:15 p.m. kickoff on the Saturday, and then 8:35 p.m. for Ulster versus the Sharks. And plenty to play for for all of these sides at the moment. The way that the table sits, looking at it, live standings. So the Lions are on 31 points. They're going to struggle to make it into that top 8. But currently, the top 8, 39 is where Munster do sit. And then Ospreys are in 13th on 33. So it's only really one win away from getting right up near that top 8 spot for a lot of teams. Ulster and Edinburgh both on 37. Connacht sitting there on 35. So a lot of reshuffling still to come in this competition. We have got, I know, Roof, not that pleased. And also, what's the time there, Hamish? At the moment, it is 5:11 a.m. here in New Zealand. I have no idea how I'm still as awake as I am. I am very much so looking forward to breakfast. But then I guess it's kind of like dinner as well, because I've been up since ages ago. But yeah, it should be lovely, I would say. Okay, there, Cardiff bagged the points earlier. Can we see log, please? Says Jimbo. So this one was the log at the start of the round / after that Sharks versus Edinburgh game. So it's a little bit different. Cardiff now find themselves in 6th place. Ulster have dropped right down to 9th. And Edinburgh are 10th. So it just shows you how much the table is shifting around all over the place. Munster are, or at least at the moment, are sitting in 8th from 5th. So they will want to boost themselves back up. Benetton, Cardiff, and the Stormers have all overtaken them. Connacht, they have gone up 2 rankings just from losing their game, and that is because of those bonus points. The Lions, they are still in 14th. They are in 1 point closer up the table, and I think most of the other stuff is about where it was. I've got Hamish. Where's Alex Nankerville? He's still with Munster. He is. He's actually starting at 12 for this game. We haven't seen a huge amount of his carries throughout it. And we look at their flash score. Good place to see log for all rugby. Says Albert and Leinster is building a galactic team. I'm not sure how I feel about it. The most exotic players the Bulls ever fielded was Kes Lensing from Namibia and AJ Lamb, not for sales signs. And who do you think will win between Stormers or Benetton? I think it will be a good game because Benetton played much better than some anticipated in their game up against the Lions. Definitely away from home. But, you know, Stormers had some great moments. Sasha Feinberg Ngumazulu was on fire throughout that first half, getting himself a hat-trick in the first 26 minutes. So I think it's going to be a good one. A lick of bacon, green pepper omelette is what you need, bro. Says Roger, well, I don't have bacon, I don't have peppers, but I do have eggs. But I know that I've got some sausages in the fridge. So that should go well. Both sides making their way back out onto the field. Do you think there is a team in Super Rugby that can take on Leinster, says Tian? Depends where they're playing. Like, if it was in New Zealand, like, I still don't think it would be too easy for a New Zealand side. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Leinster were to play a New Zealand team in Ireland. Like, I'm seeing similar scoreline. Well, it could even be a similar scoreline to what they did over Glasgow. I'd like to think not. I'd like to think it was a bit closer. But currently, based off their form, they are very tough to beat. Now, second half, both sides just making their way onto the field. Hopefully a fast-paced 30 minutes. I actually felt like the last 10 minutes of that half took longer than the first 30. I don't know whether or not you guys got that same feeling. It seemed like we just got into a bit of a repetition of not really going anywhere. And Sharks going to need 5 points next week. So for the Bulls, this is a must-win to stay ahead. Unbeatable at the moment, says Albert. And who do you think will win the Investec EPCR and the URC? So, Champions Cup, Leinster, it is their cup to lose, I believe, based off their current form. To lose, don't get me wrong, they're all right. And I think that they will be competitive up against Bordeaux and possibly even beat Bordeaux. But, like, if Leinster can just play the way that they have been, like, they should win. Hamish in New Zealand is their second breakfast because we have just one breakfast. Well, I think it's my next day breakfast, I guess you could say. A chat should chip in and get you breakfast with Uber Eats, says Christopher. The Crusaders should do a European tour, play the best of the best from over here. Leinster to lose Bordeaux, it'll be entertaining. And Leinster and Ireland have ridiculous records at the Aviva. Now, already the Bulls making a bit of a mistake there. Does mean that Munster have got themselves the line out from just inside of the Bulls 22, only 40 seconds in to the second half. Niall Scannell ready to throw this one in. We have got Crusaders should do a European tour. I think I read that one, didn't I? I don't even remember reading it, though. That's kind of bad, isn't it? But that would be a really entertaining tour. Hopefully, I mean, we were hoping to see Glasgow versus the Blues, just like they did for Munster versus Crusaders the year prior, but they didn't do it this year, and I think that is because of the lack of interest, because they overlapped it with the Six Nations, so no one knew it was happening. Now, 22 metres out from the line here, Connor Murray going across to Niall Scannell. The Bulls defended well throughout that first half. They just have to make sure that they stay onside, or else they could get themselves sent to the bin. Crusaders lost against Munster last year. So here's Eric. They certainly did. Last minute kick from, I think it was Reves Reihana. Ended up missing it. They did end up losing that game by 1. Now going off to the left-hand side here, Crowley. Apparently still situated around that 22 metres out from the line. Murray going to the left. Still just trying to move it around. Find a gap in this Bulls defence. There have been hardly any, though, throughout this match. I'm back across to Kendallum. I'd love to see Crusaders versus Leinster. Says Tian. Our Bulls had a good season, but they just need to focus to play better. Says Yarko. Little grubber attempted in behind there, but Kane and Moody will get back. He slides it into his in-goal area, and that will now be a 5-metre scrum for Munster. It was well done from Moody. Didn't really have too many options there other than to slide it dead. And the Bulls need to score early, says Roof, and that is exactly the same mentality that Munster will have going into the second half, knowing that if they can apply that early pressure, they might be able to hang on. Oh gosh, says Spider Meek, and time to rumble, boys, says Ruth. And great opportunity, come on Munster, says Sebastian there too. How much my armpit smells? Just a bit like beef curry, and it's making me hungry. I don't know what to say to that, Revenge. I guess you could eat something, but definitely don't eat your armpit. Say it is to tour the Europe series, says Bruce. Oh, sorry, that was Blues Nate. I don't know where Bruce came from. You ever go by Bruce, Nate? Probably not, because your name's not Bruce. Now, scrum feed. A little bit of drizzle at halftime, they have just said. Rain starting, says Jimbo. And Bulls need to get 10 points to lead. 20 points to 10 to just lead a little. Cheers for ruining snack time, cool story. Says Sebastian asks Richard McCaw. What did Richard Bands do with him on Loftus? Says Julian. What did Richard Bands do with him on Loftus? Julian. Now another opportunity here. And come on, Moody, Puppy, Hussein, you guys are magic together, says Christo. Murray looking off to the left-hand side just to see whether or not they had it marked up for a short side move. Which if they can get a good push, maybe O'Donoghue can go off the back. That is a big push though, and the penalty goes the way of Munster. Connor Murray taking it quickly. Oh, it's a knock on. Or is it, wait, hang on, what's the call here? They're saying Kane and Moody might be going to the bin. I don't even know if he deliberately knocked that one on or whether it was a Munster knock on first, but either way, Moody's going to be going to the bin. That's a big call. Very big call, because I feel like they should have at least had a look at that one. Well, if you're given a yellow card there for that, and it's only just out from the line, do they have an argument for a penalty try? We're going to see the replay now. Oh, Moody's never touched that. So the only reason, actually, now that I think about it, might have been offside, actually, now that, yeah, not 10 metres. Sorry, my apologies, no deliberate knockdown. It's really not you. But this game seems rather dull, says Robert. I think it's just because we've gone from so many high-scoring games throughout the weekend to now these two sides are actively defending. A decision should make Moody, well, Moody. Says Sebastian, another tough game coming up. Says Revenge, and now the Bulls, they will be playing with 14 men for the next 10 minutes. Ross Papier looking for the touchline and does manage to do so. Oh, I don't know what's happened there. I think Munster decided that they wanted to try and take it quickly. Now Thika Abrahams on off to the left-hand side. Connor Murray skip pass again. In fact, was it Moody? I think Moody's actually still out there on the field, so I'm not actually sure who it was who got the yellow card. In the end, Murray goes back across to the right. The Bulls just need to focus. I wonder who it was, because Moody was involved. Oh, almost an interception there for Sebastian de Klerk, and it wasn't under penalty advantage either, so the scrum feed will happen. Klerk will be disappointed that he wasn't able to bring that one in. He almost got it. Looks like Aka Fundamuma has got a bit of cramp. I'm still trying to work out who got the yellow card. I thought it was Moody, but it was not Moody. In fact, I'll look on the website. That'll tell us. While we're at it, we'll see here. Showall yellow card was actually in Bros Papier, who did end up with that yellow card. So there we go. Currently on the live standings, the Bulls would be sitting in third place with a draw here. Aka is coming, says Ruth. He's looking like he's about to make his way off the field soon just because of that injury to his hamstring. He's actually dealing with that last week too, I believe. It was the hamstring, then the quad. Amongst the line-out still malfunctioning. And Ross Papier. See Sebastian in there too. And now another scrum feed. And second spot is hard to crack, says Revenge. And Bulls can't focus. And that stupid ref always in their face. Sebastian again says Erica Moody is waiting on Arinsa, says Julian. Scrum will be about 35 metres out from the Bulls line. Stop editing, I thought I heard from the referee there. I don't know what that means. What is the time currently in New Zealand? It's currently 5:23 a.m. and the penalty does go the way of the Bulls. Right, the decision now. They're about 60 metres out, so I don't think they'll be taking the kick at the post. Instead, Johan Hussen will go for the sideline now if that was a banner. It was a try for the Bulls, says Eric. Ball does go into touch, though. A great defence by the Bulls, says Jimbo on 5:33 a.m. New Zealand time. Yeah, Connor Murray just having a bit of a juggle and then does claim the ball while he was on the ground. But the rain is starting to look a little bit heavier here. They said about the drizzle at halftime, but it does seem like it's elevated a little bit more than that now. And thank you for your hard work, sacrifice, and persistence. We are grateful, Amish. Says Rugby. And we are going to be doing it next week as well for all those games throughout the URC. We might have a random break somewhere in there, but more than likely we'll just end up doing them all. And 23 rather, says Spider-Mick. Breaking off the back, moving up to 22 metres out from the line here for the Bulls. What is the crowd attendance? I have absolutely no idea. If I'm being honest, if they show it later on, I will let you know. A nice attack and run forward from Cameron Honeycomb. Another advantage in favour of the Bulls. Average hot dog or burger? Depends on the day. Like, I don't mind a hot dog, but a burger goes well when it's a good burger. You know? I feel like you can get a little bit more variation with a burger, like chicken burger, beef burger. Whereas hot dog is hot dog. But I guess you can have it in a bun or on a stick. Bit fancy. And that's going back for the penalty now. That's going to be for the offside. I thought for a second the ref was going to be reaching into his pocket. Burger it is, says Sebastian. And burger or pizza? Oh, I'm honestly probably more likely to say burger. Like, pizza's great, don't get me wrong, but I feel like pizza only gets you so far. You know, it's a super sticker from Sebastian there. But yeah, like, I don't mind a pizza. In fact, I quite enjoy a pizza, but a good burger just hits you right in the face. And that's what you want. What is your favourite fast food restaurant? honestly, I don't mind a Burger King. Like, barbecue bacon double cheeseburger, that's probably the burger that I'm basing it off, for my opinion. Don't mind Pizza Hut, though. They do good pizza, decent onion rings. We've got the burger emoji or sticker thing, I should say, from Sebastian there too. McDonald's isn't great here. So here's Roof. Johan Husson does get the 3-pointer over after they won the penalty. And now the Bulls taking the lead again, 13 points to 3. And try a rib burger. Okay, I haven't tried one of those before. I'm not even sure where I would be able to get one here in New Zealand. But I'll give it a go. Slapped back by Andrew Smith. And as well retained by Munster off their kickoff. Back across to Niles Scannell. Again, it's really not you, but this game seems boring, says Robert. I think that these two sides have been very evenly matched. Plus, we've had a lot of drops in the middle. Hamish's burger, make your own. I do make a mean burger. In fact, I have a picture of a burger that I made on my phone from a while ago, and it looks good. In fact, I might be able to show you the burger. Maybe, if you're lucky. But now there's a lot of pressure because, you know, you might say that it doesn't look too good. And then I'll have to be sad. Oh, double blow of the whistle again here. Have I got a picture of me burger somewhere? There it is. How do I get that? How do I save that image? I saved it as a JPEG. I don't know whether or not I can upload a JPEG onto StreamYard, but we will give it a go. Alright, sounds like they are actually having a look at something here. Is it going to work, or is it going to say not supported? It is supported. So, there's a burger, ladies and gents. It looks alright, doesn't it? Got a bit of a stackage going. Bit of beef, bit of lettuce, bit of carrot, bit of bacon, bit of sauce, bit of egg. Bit of onions in there too. And we have got there, could ask the chef to make steak and cheese pizza. And it says the commentary Burger King. I just got hungry, says Rugby. Well, that picture of the burger probably didn't help. I think South Africa vs New Zealand at Eden Park will be the game of the year, says Robert. I really hope it's close. And it is going to live up to the expectations. A little dry. But I see the vision I'm eating that, says Rugby. Although you couldn't see all the sauce in there. That's a high-calorie burger. Little did you see, there was a burger next to it too. I had 2 of those. I'd eat that, Hamish. I'd eat that real slow, says Christopher. I'll replace that bread with big mushrooms. Try that, says Faney. But now going to be a kick for 3 from Munster, and they get it over. So now 13-13 in this contest. She's just a bit of a seesaw between the two sides. No one really asserting too much dominance. Miss Subway, don't get on my side. And oh my God, what did my eyes just see? Says Blues Nate. McDonald's blew me away when I first had it in 1996. Then they just tasted like slime after my brain analysed it, says Revenge. A burger with everything on. A nice fat juicy, says Blues Nate. Now kicking this one off again, it will be a Johan Husson. We've got 29 minutes remaining, and hopefully we see another try relatively soon. Munster have got the man advantage for another 3 minutes. I'd like to think that they'd go relatively aggressive, McDonald's burger or Burger King burger. I'm actually a Burger King burger kind of guy, but only one burger from Burger King, which is the barbecue bacon double cheeseburger. That's the only burger that I have. From McDonald's, you've got more variation. Like you can get a McChicken and all that stuff, which doesn't go too bad, or like a beef burger. Oh, that kick's gone almost backwards from Johan Husson. And then a knock on from Vesa. Oh, it's going to be dropped, but they will go back for another scrum. This ball's starting to get very slippery out there. I think the Bulls are in trouble, says Kevin. And ridiculous penalty. Krill's timing was 100%, says Eric. Johan Husson, he did look like he had some sort of injury there, but I think as soon as the ref said he wasn't getting a penalty, he got straight back up. The Bulls just need to focus, says Yako. Yeah, this is an important period in the game for them, because whoever concedes the next try is going to have quite a bit of ground to make up. And can't find on Google the crowd attendance for this game. Normally it's a little bit after that they put it on, probably like in the next couple days. It's certainly more than the crowd attendance behind me. I don't think there's a single person in the stadium. The rain is still pouring. Another scrum. Been a bit of a confusing one throughout this matchup so far. Burger King double bacon, says Tian. Oh, looks like they do need to make another change due to a different injury. Not a good idea to talk about burgers when you're hungry. I'm finding that out right now. Banana is a healthy food for you, Roof. Guarantee. Slide into your mouth and gently. That's going in a weird direction. As a Sharks fan, a draw would be perfect result. Says Tristan. Do you think if the subs come on for the Bulls, they'll play better or no? Well, I can show you who the subs are that they have got available. There we go. No, that's the wrong one. Hang on. There we go. So they have got Robela, Stravino Jacobs. He's a tricky one to know because he's been a bit out of form as of lately. Gumidi, I think, will be able to add a bit of impact in that Bulls loose forward trio. Oh. What did we just hear there? So it's going to be uncontested scrums here because of another prop injury, which does mean that Munster for the rest of this game will be playing with 14. That is a massive moment, ladies and gentlemen. And I think Roa Nokia was just getting confirmation there. That is a massive, massive boost for this Bulls team. What game of the day so far? Oh, game of the day. I mean, Western Force Hurricanes went to Golden Point, but I do still think that just for the extremely crazy nature of it, that Stormers versus Benetton was, Stormers versus Connacht for that first half anyway. Do they think they'll do better with the subs or will they not? I think they'll go all right. But this is going to really hurt Munster, and this could be a complete game changer in this match with non-contested scrums. They are going to be down to 14. Bulls stripped away by the Bulls. So it's currently 14 on 14. What is the URC game of the day so far? I'd say Stormers versus Connacht. Although, I think that the match between Benetton and the Lions was actually a pretty good game overall. If you take away the fact that the Lions did lose. Like Benetton had some highlight reel style of tries. Now, kicking downfield. Nicely taken by Munster. Sitting 40 metres out from their line. Attack and run from Sean O'Brien. How did Sasha Feinberg and Zulu go today? He got himself a hat-trick and looked very strong throughout that first 40 minutes. Second half, we didn't see as much of him when the game kind of died off a little bit. But yeah, first half, he was absolutely everywhere. Loose ball, Kane and Moody going to be chasing after this one. I believe Sebastian de Klerk winning the foot race, but it goes into touch. In fact, it was Devon Williams. Bulls depend on a strong scrum too. Might not be that big of an advantage. They have to make some changes to the game plan. I think it's just more so that 15 on 14 for the rest of the match. Like 28 minutes or 25 minutes or so will be a very long time to have one less man. Looks like Huntington might have a bit of an injury to his knee here. They must play the old Bulls game, 10-man game only today, says Julian. And yes, the Stormer says Tian. Okay, I think they've just said about how Piatti was just having a bit of a chat there with the teams. It's only 7:30 p.m. here in South Africa. And that sleep is kicking in too. Too many lagers too soon. Feel for you, mate, says Robert. And Unlucky Moody says Jimbo and Sasha got some conversions and missed some, says Bruce. Yeah, he was only kicking at about 50% Sasha in the end, I think it was. Or maybe a little bit higher than that. That's going to be the penalty going the way of Munster. And Jan Hendrik Vessels decides to kick that one away. Okay, and referee just saying you did the same as them, so I'm not going to penalise them for anything extra. How do you think the Box will play against Italy? I mean, Italy's coming a long way. I think South Africa will still win though, but yeah, they've done pretty well at their last little period, and I think that might be a game that we see South Africa go a bit more experimental in, rather than going with just like their best starting side. And Munster need Crowley to take control like O'Gara used to. See here's Jimbo. The movie stands the test of time in a small way, but not having the 2001 cell phones in it from that time, which would look so old now, says Revenge. 25 minutes still remaining. Going to be another line-out throw for Niall Scannell, about 38 metres out from his line. Bless you, Hamish. I get a good breakfast and some sleep. Says Roof, will the Bulls capitalise on the 15-man advantage? It will be terrible if they lose in spite of their advantage, says Ruben. Yeah, I think that in this case, yes, the scrums are normally something that the Bulls are able to do well, but having one extra man for the rest of this contest could be huge for the outcome. Kicked him behind, looking for the 50-22. Getting across was Devin Williams. Goes to Ambros Papia, who has returned from his 10-minute sin, but it looks like he's fresh as well. Is it off to Cobus Visa? Ambros Papia, they will sit about 30 metres out from the line. That looked like playing it on the ground from the Bulls. And there is a knock-on, which means uncontested scrum here, and Munster will have the feed. Who won the Six Nations? France won the Six Nations in the end. They're in the air, but ref says release, says Eric. Yeah, there's been a few interesting calls throughout this match, I will mention, but I think both sides will just have to try and adapt here and work out what it is that they are going to be penalised for. Oh, I'm getting very hungry now. 25 minutes left. Second half has gone a lot slower than the first. Keep thinking about that burger. And against who did France play? And what was the score? So they played in the Six Nations up against all the other sides in the comp. The only side that they lost to was England. That's going to be knocked down, I believe, by the Bulls. It was a knock-on in the tackle, though, so not a deliberate knockdown. Now locked over the ball, so once again, we are going to have the uncontested scrum. Jagan Archer injured. We have Munster next week, says Jimbo. So next week for Munster, I believe, one moment, we'll go like that. There we go. They are playing Cardiff, in Cardiff too. So honestly, that might be a really good game for Cardiff to make a bit of a dash towards that top four if Munster were to be defeated here too. Of course, if Munster get themselves to win, that kind of changes things a bit more. However, here comes a penalty for Munster. Says Eric, 5 hours sleep, wake up for breakfast, turn on Netflix, WrestleMania 41. Says Blues, Nate. See, my biggest problem is I'm going to be hungry. So then I'll want to cook something so that I can eat something. And then by then it's like, is it worth going to sleep for a couple hours or do I just stay up? Robela, he will make his way on. And that is going to be for Aka van der Merwe. Mornay Smith comes on to the field. He'll be a bit disappointed making his way out there knowing that he's not allowed to push anyone around in the scrums. And over there, oh dear, says Jimbo. Off to the right-hand side, trying the grubber from Crowley. Picked up from Ambros Papier. And tackled just out from his own line. Rolling the wrong way, but the Bulls... Oh, they get the penalty for no clear release. Tucker Abrahams, his eyes are wide open. He can't quite believe that he didn't get that penalty. We're going to see the replay now. He gets onto the ball. Yeah, that was one that could have gone either way easily. Aka van der Merwe, or sorry, not Aka van der Merwe, Tucker Abrahams. Not be happy about it. Any team you'll like to see winning the URC, says Tristan. It would be nice to see a side that hasn't won it before. So the Stormers, Munster, and Glasgow have all won. So, yeah, to keep on having it rotating between new sides would be quite cool. Knocks everywhere for the Bulls. They just don't do game management, says Eric. And do you think Devon must have a bot camp? I mean, I'm sure he's not a mile away. Definitely if there are an injury or two popping up. Do you think, or who do you think will score the first try, says Yako? The thing is, we're coming down to why, and I actually think someone like a Gumedi off the bench for the Bulls might be the impact player that they need. Exciting score, boring game, says Revenge. It hasn't been the greatest game ever, but I think that's just because the two sides are so even. Sometimes chess matches do take a little while to get interesting, but when you get those final few moves, that's when can start to really up that excitement level. Thicke Abrahams going off to Alex Nankerville, now finds Tom Farrell. Big shot again coming in, the URC final. Says Yako. And do you find it hard to readjust to normal New Zealand hours after a weekend stream, or is it second nature now? It can be a bit brutal if I'm working on Monday. Like sometimes we'll do the late night live streams and then, I've kind of got Sunday to try and get slightly back to a normal schedule. But throughout that World Cup, it was absolutely brutal. Like we were doing weekends where I was up for probably 72 hours or so with only about 4 hours sleep in between, just trying to squeeze in gaps that I could find. Have a chunk of butter if you have it, Hamish. No margarine, proper butter with some salt, and you won't need other food for a while, says Bruce. See, if I had a choice between a chunk of butter or hash browns and sausages, I'm going more towards the second one at the moment. But then at the same time, to cook that up, it's going to take more time. Ref, it's terrible. Says Jimbo, he's definitely made some stuff up today, I think is the best way of describing it. Right. Piatti's just pretty much said to Marcel Kurtzia, I'm going to referee this game, so let me do it. I think Marcel Kurtzia just having a bit of a chat with Johan Hoosen, who was laughing about it too. Do you like sushi? No, not really. I remember back at school, we had to make sushi, but I didn't want to eat the seaweed. But they were like, everyone must eat a piece of sushi. Oh, that is a bit of an ugly shot from Sebastian de Klerk on the back of the neck of Conor Murray, although he had his head down, so I don't think he actually saw that he was going to be losing the ball. But yeah, they made us all make sushi, and they said you must eat it or else you cannot leave. So I did my best impersonation of someone eating sushi. I went, and I got away with it. One of the best lies I've ever told. I'm blind, I'm deaf, I want to be a ref, says Christopher. Bunny Child takes the cake as long as it's not cheesecake, says Kevin. And I like it, it's still half time. This game is so exciting, says Revenge. Now line out throw here for, I believe it is the replacement now. Lee Barron has made his way on. I'm trying to tell you what's better for your body, not what your taste buds prefer, says Bruce. So you're saying stick a chunk of butter in my mouth will be better for me than eating food? Doesn't sound better for me. Kirsten. Yep. Ball is going to be available. If both sides have straight strength or the same strength, it's hard to put point on the board unless the ref interfere in deciding to ping one side to lose. It's all set up like wrestling, says Spider-Mick. Bulls players just laughing at the ref at this stage. And it's going to be another penalty. Who's it against this time? Clearly under pressure. I know they're going back for another knock on, so another scrum. No double B. Like they're saying, just very slippery. Hard to hang on to it. Why is it Munster ball? It is not in this case. Munster dropped the ball. They did have it. Unless, of course, it was a double knock-on. I haven't actually seen who's got the ball at the moment in terms of who's going to be putting it in. If you had a choice of homemade cheesecake or bought cake, I'd probably take homemade cake or bought cake. I'd probably just take the bought cake because that way I didn't have to make it. And there's less things that could have gone wrong. Okay, 8 in the scrum with the scrum half is the call. Who's got the ball? And Bros Papia does, so it is going to be their feed. Yeah, good there, Bruce. What are you talking about? A stick of butter in the mouth is a one-way ticket to a heart attack, says Christopher. Now, this one's going to be rolled back here. The right-hand side, kick downfield from Johan Hoosen. That looked like his second leg almost to give way. Yes, in 8 years, I haven't been to a doctor. Who else can say that? Probably a few people. I think some people just don't like doctors, so they just don't go for 30 years at a time. Nice attack and run. Bulls try running with their 22 with a wet ball. And also we have got the why is a scrum half not allowed to scrum? Is it a rule? No idea. I honestly think this game, they've lost control a little bit, and whoever wins is going to win, but I have no idea who's going to get it now. How long do you have this channel? About 5 years, I think. Or in fact, this channel, I think, was created in 2017, but we didn't actually upload on it for quite some time. Now kick downfield. Munster again, claimed by Crowley. Going for the kick in behind. Just looking for a bit of territory here. Devon Williams will claim that ball about 10 metres out from his line. We'll kick it off the left boot. And that one, that was close to putting his foot into touch there for Sean O'Brien. Bots don't need to see doctors, just to be sure when you sleep. Do you need to plug yourself into a charger? Says Christopher. And Roger Randall will coach the Chiefs. Says Crimson, and Bros Papier again kicks it downfield. Nicely taken by Thaka Abrahams. 2-man tackle on him. Connor Murray. Back across to the left-hand side. He'll probably have to play a majority of the 80 today, seeing as he was going to be making his way off the bench. But Craig Casey was the late exclusion. Now, walk past how wide it looked like it was Ford. Yes, it was. Okay, DeVette, carry on believing the lies you've been taught. What lies? He... You're just saying that maybe eating a stick of butter is not the best idea for a majority of people. Of course, results may vary. Some bloke ate potatoes for 6 months, and he absolutely loved it. Have you had a choice, butter or salt? Says Yako. What are we doing with it? Is it seasoning my food, or is it putting it in a pan so that I can cook something without it sticking? And Munster look battered. Bulls will sneak a win. I have a very sweet doctor. He's a comedian. Says Ruth. Nobody's doing anything here. Stuck in the mud, says Ruth. Yeah, it's just going back and forth at the moment. 16 minutes remaining. The second half has been, in the nicest way possible, a bit lackluster compared to the first half. First 40 minutes seemed like it was back and forth. Lots of attacking runs. The rain hasn't helped, I don't think. Made both sides go into their shell and just eating normal salt and butter. So just eating it by itself, or I can only have one from now on. So I feel like if I could only have one from now on, I'd probably go salt, just because salt's quite good in it. Butter's all right, but you can go without butter. First team to fall asleep loses, says Revenge. Yeah, hopefully we get some points sooner, else I might end up having a bit of a snooze. By itself, I'd probably rather eat butter by itself than salt, because salt by itself would be very salty. But I guess butter by itself would be buttery too. Harold Foster running it forward now. They're 40 metres out from the line here for the Bulls. I hope someone scores soon. Does he look into your eyes? Says Spider Mick. I'm moving up to 30 metres out. Still a man advantage here for the Bulls due to the uncontested scrums. Bulls need magic from somewhere, whereas Kutli Aron's in Japan at the moment. So, got to wait for him to get back. Off to the right. Another run from Mornay Smith. Garlic butter or cucumber? Garlic butter every day of the week. Amateur roof is sweeter than sugar, says Kevin. That must be pretty sweet. Marcel Coetzee, he is the lone try scorer of the Bulls. And that was close to a knock on, but luckily it is going to be play on. And that's going to be the penalty. Now we have got there 24 large boiled eggs and 1 meal is my record. Still waiting to die from cholesterol. But then the fact that you haven't gone to the doctor in 8 years, how would you know if your cholesterol is high? So the first tip is to eat butter by itself, and then the second is to have 24 eggs. I can get behind this. I ate sugarcane before. Is it wrong to avoid having a hot doctor just because they are hot? And boiled egg or baked egg and butter all over melted with their mustache, says Ruth. I understand sticking something moist, warm, and slippery in your mouth has its appeal. Right, we've got the ref just having another whispering conversation with the players. What is going on? Right. So, because the first injury was an HIA, it means that uncontested scrums will still happen, but the Bulls and Munster will both have 15 now. So it's still going to be a penalty to Munster. It's 15-15. Okay, Piardi has just said, you need to trust us, to Ruanokia. I don't think anyone trusts what's going on in this contest. Not once does ref blow Munster for ball on hands, and if the Blue Bulls or Bulls, ball on hands, immediately penalty for Munster, says Eric. One of this team needs some magic, and OMG, listen to this ref, and Kiwi long time, says LMD, welcome in. Tis good to see you. This game has really gone in a weird direction. And honestly, like, whoever wins, like, do you really accept it, depending on who it is? I'm not so sure about this ref. I think he's just confused himself. But, yeah, it just seems like there is just too much that is going on in terms of, like, too many laws being interpreted. Stephen has said, are you cooking or talking crap or taking crap indeed? Salt and butter, go help your mum in the kitchen, says Stephen. You're a charming bloke, aren't you, Stephen? Quite friendly off the get-go. Currently 13 minutes remaining. Munster have got themselves the ball 40 metres out from the line. Trying to go for the spin was Tom Farrell. The second half has been extremely ugly, I think is the best way of describing it. I just popped out for a bit, still 13-13. Still 13. We've had more time of the ref trying to explain the rules and the calls that he's making than we have in actual rugby. And the penalty goes the way of Munster, locked over the ball for Cameron Honeycomb. And the score is frozen. Currently 60 minutes through if you don't have DSTV. Sadly, there aren't too many options around for being able to watch it. But there should be highlights on YouTube afterwards, I will mention. So that's something. A boiled egg or baked egg. I don't want a hot doctor checking out my cracks, unless it's an emergency. We have got there, it's a sipping brandy, don't down them, to Stephen. Is it raining in Thorpeman Park, says LMD? It is. It's been pouring down, unfortunately. And that's really affected the smoothness of the second half. Don't normally chat, but butter is healthy. Weakness, 52 enzymes in the body in the morning. There's all a hoax. Margarine is bad. 1 molecule away from plastic, says Thens there. It's been quite a popular last name today, I've noticed. So, yeah, hopefully you are doing well. It is great to have you popping in, even if it is just to give some factual information about butter. And we have got there, still unlucky for some, Friday the 13th, The Shining. So Munster played 15 minutes with 14 players instead of 15, sack all the officials, says Jimbo. Yeah, I mean, it's lucky it didn't cost them in that regard if they were at the disadvantage. And the ref kind of afterwards said, wrong decision. You guys know where to find the app to check the live TV without DSTV. Sadly, unless you've got a VPN. Niels, if you've got a VPN, go TVNZ+. Set yourself to New Zealand, you'll be good to go. Let's go the Bulls, let's win, we're close. Yeah, it's been a really weird game to close out the weekend, I will be honest. Leinster versus Ulster, of course, just around the corner. From Dakin Blaze, kick downfield from Munster again. Nicely claimed by Devin Williams. The Sikabata put in coffee is named Bullet Coffee. Do research, guys. Says Thins. Now, going to be kicked downfield. Nicely claimed by Kanan Moody. 11 minutes now left on the clock. Oh, Munster trying to go for the turnover, but they do not get themselves the penalty. And basic says Eric. Yeah, both of these sides, whoever makes the least errors and whoever pisses the referee off the least is going to win this game. Oh, tackled there was Kilgallen. Out of the points stay 13-13, and then the last minute, Bulls score 13 points to 16. Then they would win. Then they have just got themselves the penalty there, the Bulls. This one is a kickable 3, and I think they have to take it. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty around this last 10 minutes of the contest. So, I think it's just one of those ones that they have to go for the points when they're available to health discipline. Guys, if Boca says Yako and nobody has noticed, Super Rugby discipline has improved significantly. South African team's discipline has slumped, says LMD. Right, big chance off the kicking tee here for Keegan Johannes. Hamish, my IQ is worse after this match than after a season of the Kardashians. The Bulls go for the 3, and that is exactly what they are going to do. Crowley guilty of not controlling this. Bulls deserve a win for their hard work. Now Keegan Johannes, it goes completely silent. Nice show of respect from the Munster crowd. And Keegan Johannes pulls it away to the side. Means that the score still remains 13 points to 13. The ref is pondering the pros and cons of eating a stick of butter. It's throwing him off his game, says Christopher. And go for the 3 points, and they have missed it, unfortunately. But now, kicking it downfield for Crowley and go for Pointer, says Spider Mech. And what the heck says LMD? Now Keegan Johannes puts it high. Then she saw Hamish. She was like, wow. And the Bulls. There's going to be another advantage this time. Now, playing 15 on 15 does not mean there is contested scrums. I should clarify. So, still going to be 8 on 8 in the scrum department without any pushing. Rua Nokia says he was caught a little bit high there. Thanks for the brilliant show, says Thewins. Yeah, I do apologise that we haven't done a huge amount of commentary in the second half. It's just the game's gone nowhere. We've seen so many stoppages, about 10 scrums, and a lot of the referee talking to the captains, which just hasn't really led to the best game possible. Definitely not when these two sides... Oh, no, they're going upstairs. Now they are going to be checking that one of Ruan Noki, and I think there will be someone penalised for this. A white take off Hussein. I don't know whether or not maybe it was an injury. When he did a kick earlier on, he looked like he kind of stumbled afterwards. Nice shot, chick. And also, Hamish, I'm fading fast like the setting sun. Cheers, everyone, whoever wins this match. Well done, phew. Cheers, Roof. And there as well, so they are going to check that one. Yeah, a little bit too upright from Kendallin. I think that this is going to be a penalty too. I'm looking for an app to look live TV on with blue pillars. Says Niels. What is the win prediction? I think that the Bulls have got a very good chance. And that's not just because of this one. I think that they have just looked like the more likely to score in the second half. A game is only as good as a commentator. Just joking, please be my friend still, says Revenge. Jake White let Chris Smith go. Now we are paying the price. Okay, number 8 red being penalised. Not going to be a yellow card, just a penalty in this case. And 20 points to 16 to the Bulls, says Yako. A very forgettable game either way. Yeah, it sounds harsh, but honestly, you are right. Like, we've had a lot left to be desired from this contest. But it just shows, like, these two sides have had some pretty brutal games recently. Munster didn't really seem like they were able to get out of that first or second gear. It is another penalty, so Keegan Johannes now is going to go for another shot at the post. See whether or not this one does go over. Shoulder on head. as at least a yellow card, says Eric. I think because they said that there wasn't huge contact and it was also a two-man tackle, it mitigated it a bit. The commentators have said it was a good decision, but I do think that they might not have wanted to see another yellow. Johannes now kicks it. That one looks a lot better, and it has gone over this time. The Bulls take the lead, 16 points to 13 with 7.5 minutes remaining. Give it to Krill, says Outlaw. At his game going nowhere while I'm going somewhere work. Thank you, Amy. Good commentary. Happy to be with you. Time for me to exit till next stream. Bye. And please don't shank, says I am Stigma, but he has got it over. Aaron Reigns and Seth Rollins, the Shields. Dean Ambrose walked in. WTF says Blues no. And also, it could also be 19 points to 16 if they kicked post every time. What's the claim by Keegan Johannes? Does put that one into touch. If you make contact on the head, automatic yellow card? Not necessarily. Now, in most scenarios, we do see it, but normally, like, the mitigation is the big difference in terms of if it's their pace. Is it more so, like, is there another guy involved? Is there dipping and all that stuff? But, yeah, it's not always given as a yellow. Depending on the referee, I think someone who's quite good at, who was it? In the Super Rugby, someone's quite good at deciding whether or not it's actually worth going up for it and keep the ball now, Bulls. Whereas the player now, currently 40 metres out from the line, or in fact from the opposition line here, and Munster, that is not very straight, and the referee calls it as such. Bulls to win by 7, and did CM Punk, the wrestler, just pass away? I don't think so. And we have got there, whereas the players now, and imagine if the Bulls bottle it, and come on the Bulls, says Ian. And there as well. And tough tour for the Bulls, says Outlaw. This is going to be a very important one in the next few moments, 35 minutes to get 3 points game over, lol, says Jimbo. Now, what is the chance of scoring in the second half? Honestly, not very high at all. But, like, yeah. They're definitely not going to look back at this game, either of these sides, and say, that's what we want to do again. I think that the Bulls, they'll look at it and go, we should have been able to score more tries. Munster's defence has held up well, but both sides only tackling at around 79%, which means every fifth time you get him through, that's going to be charged down, but we go back for something else here. What's this decision this time? Okay, I will not give a penalty to you because you're dummy, is what Piardi just said to Zach Berger. So, interesting one again. 6 minutes to hold on to 3 points is a long time. Says Ruben, it certainly isn't this game where you just don't know what's going to be the call. But 5 minutes. I think the Bulls need another try. I don't think that they can feel safe with just the 3 points difference. Scrum half dummy. Says a Jimbo. And why doesn't the Bulls play Chamberlain? Says Outlaw. Well, I mean, they've got quite a few guys that they choose not to use. Some of them are injury-based, of course. Another. Oh, that's dropped by Munster just outside of the 22. The officiating in this game is sideways. Score, says Martin, is currently still sitting 16 points to 13 with 4 minutes remaining. Even if the Bulls win now, they stay third. Says Ian, and yeah, just dropped by Sean O'Brien. I wish I'd like to apologise for not being a member due to poor life choices and zero inhibition. All my disposable income is spent on hard liquor and bad women, says Christopher. No worries at all. Like, you're here each week. So, like, that's the thing. The membership is just a thing that you can have if you want to have the emojis and whatnot, but it is in no means at all necessary. RF's doing their best to help EU teams, says Albert. Will the Bulls once play New Zealand teams? Not for the very near future anyway. We might see it down the line for the Club World Cup side of things. Thanks again for the commentary, says Kevin. Munster won't get another chance. They're knackered, says Jimbo. Yeah, I think both of these sides are feeling the fatigue from this match. Only 4 minutes left and the Bulls have got themselves another attacking chance. Munster would be happy to close out this game. Oh, there's another knock on. So we're going for another scrum here. Of course, there's no real excitement in the scrums at the moment, sadly, because of no contesting due to the injuries that Munster have had. Our Honeycomb Pal boys, says Ian, as Andre Pollard coming to the Bulls will know, he is indeed next year. So he will be a big player for them to be able to have. My uncle wants to fight me in MMA to win back his girlfriend. Sounds like quite a fun Sunday for yourself, Revenge. In fact, it will still be Saturday night in South Africa, if I'm not wrong. Going off to the left-hand side again here, Munster. Looks like it's going to be a kick downfield. That was actually by the replacement number 20. We need to get into their 22 in the Bulls and get the 3. Oh, it's kicked out on the full now from the Bulls. Devin Williams goes for the big one. Makes the crucial error. Better off to marry to alcohol. Trust me, she wins. You go sleep now. And Bulls need to slow this thing down. Nice to know, Christopher, that you're not wasting your money with bad women. Now, ready to throw this one in. 3 minutes left. This game has been quite something. If the Bulls win, it will be massive. Well, it would be, but at the same time, like, this referee has changed his mind so many times that you don't actually know who he's going for in this one. So he's had that many back and forth decisions, you could almost call him impartial at the end of this game. Now, big run forward from Niall Scannell. At that time, it was Barron. Hamish, I feel there is a big play coming. What do you think? I absolutely hope so. Just something, a line break would be great. I don't know how many of those we've had in the second half, but I wouldn't think it would be many. No South African team has been a Munster at home. Says Albert. Now, Candellen can't quite get that one away. Do you have Miss Bulls chutney in your part of the world? Not that I have seen anyway. Oh, knocked on by Caden Moody. Now pick and go from Munster. Great hits by the Bulls defence. And kick out on the full by the Bulls sums up their performance tonight. Yeah, neither of these sides, like, it sounds harsh to say, but neither of these sides really deserve to win. Like, neither have taken this game by the scruff of the neck and just looked at that's another knock on. Cameron Harnicom going to kick it down the field now. Don't worry, Bruce. You got through to me. Next month, I'll put money aside for a stick of butter. Now passed on the outside. Munster kicking it downfield. 2 players staying down in the background. Keegan Johannes. Only 60 seconds or so remaining here. Now, Crowley. Looks like he is down at the moment. Big run forward from Theke Abrahams. Bulls trying for the steal. Terrible game, says Outlaw. Yeah, it's been far from the best game of the URC that we have seen. Ball's gone backwards. Why are they kicking so often? Munster kicking the ball away with 60 seconds left. But he tried a little grubber, so it went straight into the hands of the Bulls. Easy peasy. They've got the ball back now. Of all the games tonight, which game was your favourite? Mine was Stormers game. I'd agree. I think that one was a very good one. Keegan Johannes, I don't know what he's done there, but I think he's just booted that ball out. That's unfair. Hamish Bulls back 1. This says Jimbo. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. They had a really good first half. I think it's just the second half has really taken the toll out of this match. Munster have looked underwhelming. Bulls' discipline, I think, is the bit of a concern there, which possibly is why I'm saying it's a bit more even. But yeah, she's been a rough game. I close this horror show down now. Crowley not looking good at the moment here. So clean breaks 5-1 for Munster. Defenders beaten is 19-18. So we've had less than we saw in that first half. We've seen 123 tackles made by the Bulls. Penalties conceded, though, 12 against them, which will once again be a bit of a concern. Both teams seem to have run out of ideas. Yeah, the big tactic at the moment is just kick it downfield, hope that the opposition drop it, have an uncontested scrum, hope they drop it again. Not watching, but it seems Fiji and Draw is making some waves, says Roger. Yeah, they got themselves a big win over the Waratahs. This is like Zach Berger is now going to be off the field with an injury here. Does not look good for him. As like a test match, no one wants to take the risks. Says Albert Field position currently on the halfway line. And it will be the line out for Munster. Bulls discipline has been in shambles this season. They're going to miss my shout next weekend. Says the Blues Nate there. Right, line out is now set. Lee Barron throws it in. Has gone straight this time. Trying to get that turnover was Cameron Hanekom. Honestly, like, if this was going to be Munster get a penalty and they convert and they have a draw, it might be, like, it's a fair result, I would say. Big shot there on Kilgallen. And when is it full time? We've got 5 seconds remaining on the clock. So next drop ball will end this game. And if the second half is anything to go off, that's probably only about 20 seconds away. Now going off to the right-hand side, Thika Abraham's passes now nicely moving down the wing. And we have got how much time left? We are past the siren now. Munster going back across to Crowley. Big shot on Kendall in the middle of the field. Who was favoured to win this game? Munster was slight favourites up against the Bulls, but not by a massive amount. Why didn't Keegan not keep that ball here? I'm not sure what the tactics have been all throughout the second half at times. Munster tried to kick the ball away with 60 seconds left. Good hands from Munster again, just on their halfway line. Trying to hold up Thaka Abrahams. All the refs called it as a maul. It was close to a knee being down as pop back onto the side of Munster. Really isolated for Kendall. And shoot this game, says Revenge. And thanks again for the great commentary. Enjoy your early breakfast and see you next week, says Christopher. Now passed on the left-hand side here. Space starting to open up for Munster. Farrell moves to 42 metres out. Bulls wanting the steal. But Johan Rubela did lose his footing again. Make it stop, says Dan. And what a load of rubbish, says Jimbo there. And breakfast and sleep for you, or vice versa, says Ruben. I might just have a small snack and then sleep for a few hours, perhaps. Might not be a bad idea. But we are still going 17 phases in, ladies and gentlemen, to this play for Munster. Going back across to the left-hand side. The crowd are starting to chant. Barron gets closer. Rua Nokia over the ball. No, the referee just looks at the breakdown and says we'll keep on going. Now on the outside, Jack O'Donoghue. Munster moving up to 30 metres out from the line now, passing it off to the left. In fact, that time it was right. Harold Foster wanted the steal, but he was on the ball, on the man, not the ball. Crowley passes it across. That is the knock on. The Bulls, they will put this ball into touch. They'll win the game. But, yeah, interesting contest, to say the very least. Probably one that, like I said, neither side will be absolutely thrilled about, but the Bulls will be happy to get that away win at Thorntman Park. Pretty sure Bulls care, or don't care how they win. They just get the points, even if it's an ugly win. And Bulls, thank you, Hamish. Says Tanya, what a miracle, says Outlaw. And also make the game stop. Bulls fans win, says the Blues. None, enjoy your breakfast, Hamish, you're a champion, says Dan Bortha. So next week, of course, we're going to have plenty more action for all of the matches taking place. But a massive win there for the Bulls, 16 points to 13. So some pretty close games of the URC throughout this round. Of course, Leinster versus Ulster is taking place around the corner. We are not covering that one on the channel, as I will be trying to get a little bit of sleep. But thanks, that's a great win for the Bulls front 8, says Jimbo. And also appreciate all the streams today. Take care, Hamish, says Zero Connection in there too. But yeah, nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. We will be back next weekend, like I said. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you all for the next one.